Hello, my name's Tanya Monro and I'm Australia's Chief Defence Scientist. It's a pleasure to be able to talk with you today and present this closing address for the Australian Technology Network of Universities conference. The theme of this conference, which you've been exploring over the last 3 days, of collaboration between business, government and universities, has never been more critical. And today I'd like to share with you some new developments and some thoughts and insights on the opportunities for the ATN universities and researchers within them to partner deeply with government and industry and each other to deliver on some of Australia's most challenging problems in the space of defence and national security. And note that many of the comments I make will be applicable across other domains as well. I'd like to start by recognising that we've been living through the most difficult time that our universities have faced in many decades through COVID-19, and that the decisions made now, whether that's decisions made by individual universities or by government on university policy, will be pivotal in shaping this future for the foreseeable future. Collaboration is key to this. Collaboration, the ability to take great ideas and pull them through to industry, and the relationship between government, universities and industry has never been more critical. To talk to the defence context, last year the Prime Minister launched the Defence Strategic Update and the corresponding force structure plan. I'd encourage you to have a look at these public documents if you've not done so. They paint a really clear picture of Australia's strategic context and really frame everything we're doing at the federal government level to try and secure a future for Australia that is strong and resilient. The Defence Strategic Update has 3 main thrusts, and they're known under the terms shape, deter, respond. It's a bolder posture for Australia, and it's a more confident posture for Australia. And this is really relevant when we think about the role that our universities play. It really completes the shift of Australia being a nation that acquires major defence capability from overseas to one where, in deep partnership with our allies, we more confidently determine what sovereign industry we can and must develop here, how we approach creating resilient supply chains, and what R&D we need to do as a nation to underpin that. To go along with this more confident and more ambitious posture have been a number of changes. One of these is creating a new capability manager role for me as Chief Defence Scientist, responsible across defence broadly for innovation, science and technology. DSTG, which I have the privilege to lead, is just over 2,100 scientists, technologists and engineers across 8 sites around Australia. And I know that there are many academics and senior leaders at this conference who have had strong engagement with DSTG, or in the past DSTO, our predecessor. And our role is also changing to deliver on this new strategic posture. We are now responsible not only for helping de-risk some of the acquisitions and doing the in-house science, research, technology development required to support that, but we're also charged with helping shape the nation's R&D that's happening within our universities and within our industry to better align with defence's biggest problems. and to help our partners, the Australia Defence Force, understand where in Australia the best work happens that can support Australia's requirements, and to shape the conditions so that it can deliver defence capability. So as the capability manager, I'm responsible for making sure that we have that capability, not just within DST Group, but across Australia. Now, the ATN group of universities is a very special group. It's a distinctive group in that it is very aware of the need for good, strong industry partnerships, and that is very positive. And being a group of relatively younger universities, I think has the advantage of agility and the ability to understand how to work differently in changed context. And I think this will be very valuable at this point in time. We have a range of mechanisms and ways that Defence works with Australia's universities. Many will remember at the Universities Australia Conference back in 2016 when the Defence White Paper was launched, my predecessor announced the Next Generation Technology Fund, which remains a critical mechanism for us to invest in emerging disruptive technologies for Australia through its 9 themes. Recognising, though, that given this strategic context shift, we need to shape the work we're doing in Australia to deliver on some very special requirements. Last year, we delivered the new Defence Science and Technology strategy for Australia, which is called More Together. This recognises that we need to work actively to help our university partners, our industry partners, understand some of the biggest problems that defence faces and how to engage with us on them. At the heart of this strategy are our new Starshots. These Starshots are 8 really big challenges that we can't solve with current technology, which drive us, inspire us to develop new ways of working together across government, industry and academia, but also create that creative space where people can come up with crazy new ideas and test them in a defence context. Test them on trials, demonstrations, exercises. Give us the chance to accelerate new ideas and see how we can help together co-invest in taking those ideas right through to industry. To support this aspiration of Australian sovereign industry capability development, we've developed a defence-wide capability innovation strategy which is due to be launched shortly. It's called Concepts to Capability, and it focuses in on the fact that great ideas can come from anywhere, and that it also recognises that defence is a big, complex, bureaucratic machine. I've mentioned the NGTF, but of course you'd be aware of the Defence Innovation Hub, which also supports university research. And there are other defence innovation mechanisms like the CDIC, for example. Under Concepts to Capability, we've committed to developing a more coherent and connected defence innovation ecosystem, which helps great ideas navigate through this system and get support, get sponsorship, get buy-in, and provides mechanisms for doing things like rapid prototyping and capability acceleration. This is really important because the reason why we need to do this is that the changing strategic context heralds a significantly increased appetite for science and technology, and this is a huge opportunity for Australia's universities. If our universities, our researchers, our networks can show the kind of agility we need to be able to convey some of defence's biggest problems, to be able to listen to some of the potential solutions and explore them together. One mechanism that we're leaning into heavily to help support this aspiration of shaping the national R&D landscape are the state-based defence research networks. As of this year, we now have a complete national coverage with our state-based defence research networks. They're all slightly different. Some of the acronyms you may have heard, the DIN, the DIP, the DSI, the DSC, they take different forms across the nation, but together they form one ADSUNG, Australian Defence Science University Networks. This network of networks is an incredibly powerful mechanism for us to increase the level of awareness of opportunities in defence and national security, to connect great talent in our universities with the appropriate people in the defence ecosystem, with industry. They do a range of things that help support this agenda, from networking events to seed funding grants to connecting those elements of the system together. And I am now looking to that network to help us deliver some of the greatest scale we need around these bigger problems. So please look out for opportunities to engage both at the state level with your local network, which will allow us to start to get some of the distinctiveness we're seeking in our university research, to build that scale, to make those long-term enduring partnerships that we need to deliver on these long-term problems. Because we don't have a problem of engagement. I mean, I looked up the numbers across ATN universities since 2015. We've had nearly 600 research agreements, totaling nearly $100 million worth of funding. Those numbers tell you we do have a challenge of too small scale research collaboration agreements. We need to move to longer term, larger co-investments. And this will be facilitated by a deeper strategic dialogue about the areas of focus for our partnerships with specific universities. This is supported by the new Defence Science Partnerships Deed, which came into force last year, and I'm grateful that every university in Australia is now signed up to the DSP, which provides greater confidence and support around some critical aspects, for example, research security. Because of the change in our geopolitical environment, Australian research is much more vulnerable than it was in the past to the threat of foreign interference. And it's really heartening to see how the sector is engaging proactively and positively with best practice measures to help guard against this very real threat. So if you've not seen them, I strongly encourage you to look at the guidelines for countering foreign interference, which came out of the University Foreign Interference Task Force, and seek support from your universities, your state-based defence research network, or from DSTG. We need to make sure that Australia's sensitive and critical research is protected, and it's only through doing this that we can secure an advantage and benefit for Australia and its defence and national security through your efforts and your research. So before I wrap up, I guess I really wanted to reflect that I think we're at a moment in time where there's an opportunity of a greater scale and potential impact than we've ever seen that can come from deep partnership and long-term planning between government, universities and industry. It's really research for purpose, deep enduring partnerships for impact. And it heralds a mission-based approach through DSTG and Defence, our Starshots, and our major acquisition programs signal this type of mission-based approach. At CSIRO, As you will have heard, the missions signal a similar large-scale, purpose-driven approach. And there's an increasing appetite across government to work this way. And indeed, I think the COVID period, while it's had its challenges, has shown us that when we have a really clear, shared purpose, we break down a lot of the barriers, the silos between government departments, different institutions, different sectors, because there's no question why we're doing what we're doing and why it's important. So please lean in, see how you can engage in this mission-oriented, purpose-driven research, forge those partnerships, and I think we will have both greater support for our R&D landscape into the future and greater impact from the very good and very hard work that our university researchers do. Thanks for your time today, and I look forward to continuing that dialogue as we start to really move through the implementation and delivery of these really exciting opportunities. Thank you.